This is Chris and Parx-e here. I'm here with Iceland, Melbourne's Mr. Rockstar himself, Mr. Brad Marr from Massive, who are releasing a new album next month on the legendary Earache Records out of Europe and America. So you happy to finally have a new album coming out, guys?
It's been a long time coming, mate. It's our first album, Full Throttle, was the first 11 songs we wrote. So, once that was out of the way, it was let's work on album 2. So we've actually had a lot of time to write album number 2, and yeah, it's now it's here, it's coming, it's a reality.
So was the recording process different to the earlier release, or was it more or less the same?
It was the same studio. We wanted to keep it similar. We went back to Ricky Ray and Lighthill. It was different in the fact that we knew what was coming, and we were a lot more prepared this time. So I think we were a lot quicker, and yeah, I think Ricky Ray knew what he was going up against. So it was more about just getting in there and putting it down. So
how was it having like an overseas label, having it behind you when you guys, like your band in Melbourne, you're playing lots of shows and you've toured with Screaming Jets? How does having like a major label, like a bigger label, that prestige?
Well, I mean, they're a big label, but they're rock fans at heart. Like, I was over in the UK in December and rocked up at their door, and they're all just heavy metal fans and rock and roll fans. So they're very, very supportive for a big label. They're very supportive, and their Skype's always on for a chat, and yeah, it makes it a lot easier when you've got somebody who has the skill and has the knowledge and has the contacts to put you in, a lot better things than you can get yourself. So, I mean, they don't have many bands on their label at the moment. They're sticking to a select few of rock and roll acts, and they're giving it all their energy. So we're stoked to be one of them, I guess.
So what's the so in their mind? So when you came to a new album, was the songwriting different to earlier release, or was it more or less the same? Had that kind of stayed the same? Or?
It was more, now it's more collective, all four of us putting in. As I said, the first album was me and Jared in an attic writing songs. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just writing songs to make an album. This time it was more, here we are, guys, 4 guys in the room, let's write our second album, and it's a lot more influences are put in there. So Aiden, who's a stoner rock doom hard rock guy, and there's a lot more of that in there, and Brendan's very bluesy, he loves that stuff. So when people put all their influences in, you get a lot different of a sound. But
cool. So how did it feel to be able to tour with the Screaming Jets? How'd that all come about?
They're a great band still. They're a bunch of old guys now, but they still rock like they did in the 90s. We just got it through our management. We approached them and put in a pitch for their support, and they said yeah. And probably about 3 shows in, we were best mates with them. We were sharing hotel rooms and sharing dinners with them and drinking beers together, and by the end, on the last show, we decided to as we do, because we're a bunch of idiots, we decided to prank them and nude up and raid their stage naked in front of 1,000 people at the Sydney Metro Theatre, which was it's a hard thing to do, to stand in front of 1,000 people naked. But
how did they feel about that?
Well, they were shocked. They didn't know it was coming. But they've asked us back for this year's tour, so we're touring with them in May again.
Nice.
So yeah, I guess they liked us.
So with the new album coming out, you guys going to go tour Europe again? Is that the pipeline? Yeah,
we've already locked in Hard Rock Hell, which is a great festival, man. Like it's a campsite, like it's an actual camping ground, and they've it's not like a festival where you've got 8 stages and you miss half the bands. There's 2 stages and it's 3 days, and by the end of the 3 days, you've met every single person there. It's 10,000 people, and you all just live together for 3 days. It's really cool. So we've locked that in, and then we've got, we're booking a tour around that. So we've got a few things locked in, and yeah, we'll be there before the end of the year to do it all again.
So you guys have a booking agent over there, and
yeah, we've we've just locked in a new booking agent. Our manager flew over there last month to secure some new deals. Paul Ryan from United Agency is taking over booking for us in the UK. He's got some pretty big bands on his roster. Just some of the biggest bands in the world. So
that's what you want.
So yeah, I mean, and he seems keen, and we're keen to do it. So game on.
So what do you hope the album will do for the band? How do you hope it will gain you more fans in Australia, and then hopefully get the fans who've gone in Europe, get you more excited, and then they tell their friends? And
well, I mean, we want to sell 1 million, billion records and be multi-billionaires and live on private jets, you know. Nah, it's a progression, you know. We sold X amount of CDs for the first one, and I mean, we gave our first album we gave out free on the front of Classic Rock magazine, and that's 100,000 records handed out for free across the world. So, you know, we're hoping some of those people, you know, enjoyed the CD and come back and buy the second one. So, you know, we're not putting a number on it. We just want to make fans and get our music heard. Whatever that, you know, wherever it is, we'll go to play to whoever wants to hear us.
do you think traditional media, like media and even like magazines and like street press, do you still think they're relevant, especially in what kind of music you're doing, because to gain the fans? Like a lot of people now these days, it's all online. You've got to be on a big website to get exposure.
I think here in Australia, it's a bit less relevant. Here we're very digital. I mean, even the street press mags here aren't getting much attention. The hard copies now, it's all online. Over in Europe, though, I think they still like to hold something. You know, vinyl over there is so much bigger than it is here. And, you know, their CD stores are still big in Europe. You know, there's still an independent music shop, you know, in every city. And so magazines are still where people get their information from over there. So I don't know if it'll change. I don't know what will happen in the future, but I think different territories have different ways of getting their music. So
yeah. So look, everyone's been talking about having a new countdown, and everyone's been talking about having a new music program. Do you think, like, I get why people want it. People want it for us to be a good way to get their music out there, but you think the internet is like, righto, why would I want to sit down and watch a program when I can go on YouTube straight away and see that hot new band everyone's talking about?
yeah, I see your point. You know, why would you waste an hour and hope you see your favourite video clip? When you sit on Spotify, I've got Spotify and I don't know what to listen to, and I've got every song in the world available to me. I think people need to be shown what to like sometimes, and I don't know if countdown is the right thing that we need, but I do think you need people in the industry championing, you know, rock music and local
like
bands. And like Higo, of course, he champions good music, and you need people to say, listen to this, because, you know, otherwise we sit on our Spotify and listen to our favourite record over and over and never hear anything new.
Do you like you think like the days of having like a guy like Molly and now everyone's favourite Higo, do you think they're still relevant? Like, because a lot of people like in the old days, especially with movies, a movie would be dictated on the review. So do you think, like, same with music, that having the right guy tell you that this album, this band, you've got to check out?
I don't think it can hurt. I think it's a different genre to movies. Movies are, you know, you might go watch a movie and love it, and you might like action movies, but you might, you know, hate half the action movies out there. Rock music, I think, you know, I can appreciate nearly every rock and roll album out there. If I don't like it, I still can appreciate a lot about it. So I think you do need champions. Like this guy right here, he champions rock and roll. He brings out bands that probably couldn't tour here a lot, and you just need people to say, yes, this is good. Otherwise, as I said, people will just keep listening to Zeppelin and Gunners and AC/DC and just keep, you know,
for those playing at home, the poster, the artwork behind the wall of Mr. James Young, who runs the very fine venue known as Jerry Bar. So
Yeah, we are in AC/DC lane. So the great man's bar is behind this wall.
Yeah. So, like, do you think every town or every city should have like a cherry bar or a rainbow bar and grill?
Oh, absolutely, mate. Every street should have one. Yeah. Oh, you know what? If it's not going to be full, you know, I mean, Sydney has Frankie's Pizza, which is crazy, and Brisbane sort of has the Crowbar, I guess. But you know, if people aren't going to go to it, then not every city can have one. But you know, it's great wherever they are because it's just a fun place to hang out and drink.
I go to gigs and then, and also relates to albums is basically, I go to a gig, a band plays a really rocking song, and then they go into like some sort of mellow track, and it's just like, for me, it's just like, you want the audience to stay engaged.
Yeah.
Why do for me, it's just like, why do so many people decide they write this really rocking song, it just kicks ass, it gets the crowd going, then they pump it in some sort of ballad that doesn't work, that it's just, they're losing the energy and the momentum. And
I can't comment on every band because I don't know what goes through all their heads, but I think, and it's probably speculative, but I think a lot of bands try to get everyone, and you know, they try to write a song to cater for everybody in the room, and you can't do that. Like, you know, you don't need, if you haven't got a great ballad, don't put a shit ballad on your album, I think, or in your set. You know, I think people think a little bit too much about what they haven't got in their set as opposed to what they do have, and I think, you know, but you know, it's music is you know, is opinionated. Like, you have your opinions of what you like, and I have mine, and what you might not like, you know, the people at the back of the room might move forward for. So I guess it's all out there for everybody to listen and enjoy or dislike. And I guess, I don't know, we got ballads in our set. I hope we rock them up enough live to keep people entertained. But yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? Because you know, if you all just play full on rock and roll, which I love, you know, the one sitting at the bar going, I hate this, is not going to like your band at all. And you want everyone to have a good time, so.
Okay, I can agree with that. So we've got a few more questions left. Do you guys have moments where you just can't write and you need to take a break and do something else?
Oh, of course. I mean, last year we went flat out, and with the Jets tour, man, we drove 22,000 kilometres and in the van together, you know, and that sort of stuff makes you get cabin fever, serious cabin fever when you're sitting in a van for 3 days straight. So when we got home, I think it was, and you know what, we don't fight at all. We're a very, you know, tight band these days. We're a very happy band. But when we got home, I think it was good to just go and hang out by ourselves with other people for a couple of weeks, just to go back to reality. And it happened with Europe as well. Like, when you spend that much time with somebody, you need time away just to remember that it's fun and enjoy it.
So how was playing a gig on a boat? How was that fun? That, to me, I think that's great that people sing outside the box and doing like a gig that's completely
that was
different.
Insane, man. And you got hats off to Tequila Mockingbird, who put that on every year. They fund the whole thing. They front up the costs. It costs a lot of money to put a gig on a boat.
Right. The public liability of the airport.
Everything. So security, food, stage, PA, sound, everything, promotion was paid for by Tequila Mockingbird, and
wow.
You know, everyone got paid that day except for them. They broke even, you know. So, you know, you got to give the hats off to them for putting it on, and it was an insanely cool day. I mean, everyone's on a boat. You can't go anywhere. You've got to watch your bands or hang out at the bar. So everyone's just there enjoying themselves. And
there was an interesting one because you had the beanies on the bill, which are just like this mad.
He's the greatest, man.
I know, these are fantastic. They're like I love those posted bits, man. I've known them for ages, and like this cool little punk kind of
yeah.
Well, I don't know what you call them, but they just rock, and then you got like Dallas Fresca, who everyone loves, and then you've got you guys who just rock.
Yeah, Tequila Mockingbird or punk rock, and then I mean we had comedians on the boat, you know, and
wow,
it was a festival sort of atmosphere, and it's because I think it would work with any genre because you have to give it your attention because you've got nowhere else to go, so people will just have to enjoy it because they're there, and they do. It's great.
So, what is next for the band? And if you could have anybody in a video clip, who would it be?
Oh, mate, that's a hard one, isn't it? We'll start with next for the band. We're touring. This album's about to come out, and we want to tour non-stop for the next 2 years until we have to do album number 3. We've got a 5-album deal, so you know we've got plenty of time to write album number 3, but we want to get out and tour a lot this year. So video clip, jeez, there's a million people. I'd like to get Axel and Slash. Well, they're back together now, which is great. I'd like to share a video clip, or a stage at least, with original lineup Guns N' Roses. Maybe a bit of remaining members of Led Zeppelin, the Beatles. Who knows, mate? Anybody who wants to be in our video clip can come down.
That'd be cool, man. G'day, it's Chris and Parx-e Show here. I'm talking to two band members from the rock and roll band from Brisbane, known as Smoking Marr, who are playing Yayas tomorrow night, which is November the 27th. It's an awesome lineup. So they're here to chat with us about all things music. And so, you guys have been playing music for a while. What inspired you guys to get into music and give it a go?
I don't know, I've always, I guess when you're younger, you know, you sort of click to a certain kind of music, and then you just kind of want to do it as well. I mean, that's what I found for me. And then I know we just started. It's
always been a dream for us to do something together, and so we basically started writing together, and then got the amazing guys who obviously made up our band and started rocking out on stage. That's basically how it worked.
And you recently played the famous jail up in Queensland that Rose Tattoo has once played before. What's that like to play?
Oh, amazing! Yeah, I mean, there's been such people like Divinals, Powderfinger in that jail, but you know, not in the jail, but playing at the jail. It was awesome. It was really cool. It was definitely an eerie experience.
Yeah, it was creepy as the dressing rooms were the actual cells, and in one of the cells you can see where it's pretty bad, but where some guy like lit himself on fire, and all the burn marks are still in there. So it's nice. It's pretty hectic.
So how did the gig come about?
Well, one of the guys we know, Nathan from Eyeball Promotions, he's been trying to do something different, like put on shows that aren't just a regular show.
Yeah, he's trying to do something a bit unique.
Yeah, so he kind of tries to get a different weird venue and just different stuff. So we had art installations in some of the cells, and like roving, like all that gore makeup kind of stuff, people. So all people dressed up all freaky and that in there. So I don't know, he's just trying to make it like a better,
more of an
something
event.
a bit different.
Yeah.
So how does the song start for you guys? How does the song start? How did you get to the songwriting process for writing the song?
I guess.
Well, you normally Mick comes up with a riff, and then kind of flows off that. So he'll come up with a riff, I'll start a melody, and then the rest of the band comes together, and we all just can create the structure of the song, and then just add in the little bits and pieces at the end, and voila! This is
how it goes.
It's fun.
So do you guys have moments where you just can't write and you need to take a break and basically focus on something else before you can get back into the art of songwriting?
Yeah, I find I'll go into every now and then you sit there and you're trying to play something, everything you do is shit. Like everything you just know it's not good. And you have to just sort of, you keep forcing it for a while usually, and then it just gets worse. So usually you just have to take a break. Like for me, I'll go stop playing music for a little bit, and I'll have to go surf or do something, something like that to take your mind out of it.
So what does it seem like where you guys are at for playing the style of music you do? Is it a supportive scene? Is it a nurturing scene?
I guess the rock scene at the moment is really mixed. Like, we can play with metal bands, we can play with indie, punk, fast punk, old punk. We can play with a lot of different kinds of music. So I guess the best part about being in rock is that you can kind of fit into so many different lineups that we have more, I guess we have more variety in terms of playing, and also all different types of people listen to our music. So I think it's pretty supportive.
Yeah, definitely. Like all the bands are, we always do end up playing with all different kind of bands. Everyone seems
I think
pretty
everyone starts to
supportive.
try and support each other.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
It's important to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. So have you got any new releases in the pipeline? What's the plan for the band?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we've sort of just demoed about 8-9 songs.
Yeah, we've got quite a few songs we're
Yeah.
ready to record. We're hitting up a couple of different studios at the moment just to kind of, I guess, source who's the best producer to go through this time around, and just to kind of get that finished, that kind of finished product that we really want. So we're ready to record, but we're looking probably more like maybe Feb next year.
Yeah, I reckon
Yeah. So we'll have some new stuff out soon.
Yeah.
So what do you hope this tour of Victoria will do for the band and expanding your brand as a band and gaining some new fans? And
Well, I find I don't know. It's just good to play different places for starters. So that's like the main thing we like, getting out and doing that. But yeah, we usually, you want to sort of expand a bit. So playing different areas to different new people. It's not your fans or your friends that always know you. So you got to, it's a bit of a different feeling when you do that, because you unknown quantity, I guess. So you sort of, yeah, it's good to see the actual reaction for people that don't know you from a bar or so.
And we just like playing shows, so realistically, if you can put us on a stage, we'll be happy to rock out. It's just, and it just have a bonus of being able to come to Victoria is just, any excuse really.
cool. So how does social media help the band? How important is it to you guys?
It's what
You know what? Social media is something that, was really strong for a while there, and I feel like it's starting to die off a little bit in certain ways. It is important for a band. We have to keep it updated, and we have to always, tell people what's going on, and it's a way to get across what shows you have coming up and what you've got coming up in, in recordings. But I feel like more people are realizing that it's not the only way anymore to find what's going on. Like, people are going back to things like word of mouth and just actually going out to shows. And, I don't know, I feel like it is important, but it's not the most important thing.
So you still think traditional ways of getting your stuff promoted, like legal poster polls and street press and radio and print, do you think it all still helps? Or?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
you know what, for
even
independent
for this.
bands, definitely, because the people who are listening to these independent radio stations or looking at the posters that are in the street, they're the ones who want to come to a rock gig, like that's the target market. It's like they're the people who want to come to a show. I know that's me. Like, I look around for posters, I see what's happening on, checking out what's on the walls, as well as other friends telling me about gigs, word of mouth. I think in radio, like independent radio stations are really important. They support local bands so much. So yeah, I think it's just as important. I think you've got to do both.
I think a lot of people or a lot of bands rely everything on their Facebook or on the internet, whereas you have to do both.
You've got to do both. We go around and do poster runs all the time.
Yeah. Just get the skateboard out and cruise.
Just put posters up everywhere.
I mean, we
get in a bit of trouble for it, but whatever.
We got hooked up one of the poster distro companies down here even for this tour, and got a bunch of posters put up as well. So you have to do both, really.
So if you could put the ultimate lineup together, who would be on the bill?
Oh.
On the spot.
There's so many good bands.
You'd go to Vinyls.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to go to Vinyls.
He said ultimate. So.
Okay. Do you mean like the ultimate out of any band in the world?
Yeah, why not?
Oh.
We'll go with that.
You know what? I don't even know. We've had a bit of we've had some pretty great shows this year, and it's we got to play with Seether and Uriah Heep. We've played with Everclear before. That was some pretty amazing shows.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it's so hard to think who you would want to play with, because most of the time, most great rock bands, it would be an honour to play with.
I reckon there's a band up in Gold Coast, Purple Zane. Those dudes are like crazy freaky. They do like K-pop almost, but rock and roll, and they're just over the top as. I'd like to play in a bill with those guys. I think they're amazing.
Yeah.
That's
So what was
about
it like to be able to play with Siva and Everclear, which are bands that have had some amount of success?
Amazing. It was really cool. Like, you know, just to play, when you used to play, it's great to have that option of being able to play those really good venues as well as playing the small venues, because you want to be playing those venues to be able to really see what it is like in a professional kind of surrounding, and you know, you have fantastic sound on stage, you can hear everything amazingly, you can, you know, everything is just so spot on. But, and you know, just to play to that many people is just such an amazing thing. But then, you know, we love the small, like kind of intimate gigs as well, because they are what really come to life. Like, you can really kind of draw in your crowd. It's definitely a challenge though to be able to play both, because to try and draw in a crowd of over 1,000 people is a lot harder than it is to draw in a crowd of, you know, 60 people in a bar. So
Totally.
both are completely different experiences, but both very memorable and important.
It also helps too. It's good when it turns out that the people in the bands, like those big ones, are still down to earth and really
Like
cool.
Uriah Heep, they were really cool guys. Yeah, they were really cool. And Everclear, they were really cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So what is next for the band?
What do we got? Well, I guess these are our last 3 shows this
For the
tour
year.
for the year. And I guess the main thing is getting that recording done. So we want to get back in the studio. So it's a bit of pre-production, playing to a click.
Can't wait to get in the studio.
Yeah.
And we want to tour. So after we release the new stuff, we'll be touring, just playing,
Yeah.
touring. More here, a lot more shows in Victoria. We want to obviously get back to Sydney, and we will definitely head overseas next
Yeah.
year. So
Cool.
we're just excited to
Keep playing.
keep doing what
everywhere.
we're doing.
I'll leave you with one last question. If you could have anybody in a video clip, who would it be?
Anybody? I'd like to have Al McPherson, like from, you know, more like
From the 90s.
from the 90s, late 80s. Like doing the dance next to me, that'd be pretty sweet. I'd be
I don't
Nice.
know. I don't know. I think I'd pick someone like.
Who do you want?
I'd pick like Sebastian Bach from the 80s.
Nice.
He had a good set of hair.
It was the hair, you don't got me.
Apparently his shows went really well in Australia, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our mates opened for Black Swan. They got one of the supports up in Brizzy, and they said it was amazing. Yeah.
nice.
Pretty cool.